Hello, Egyptian onion in spring, zone 5A. Well, Egyptian onion is a perennial onion added to our zone 5A, and today is April 26, 2025, and you can see them. They are harvestable. I've been harvesting some for fresh eating, but if you are looking for a perennial onion to grow in your vegetables garden, you can look it up to see if it's added to your zone. And spring is the time I like to harvest them. I'm just going to show you how long some of those leaves are, and you can keep the bulb in the ground year around and just eat the leaves in spring and fall, and eat the top bulb in summer. So this leaf is 12 inches or so, and some of them could be longer as well. It will be longer than that. You can see this, but yeah, you can harvest it now. I've been harvesting it since they were about maybe 6 inches or so. Just snip the outside leaves and chop it up and add it to my food. So it is April, and I planted some annual onion that you'll harvest for the bulb in the garden. I purchased the plant to plant, and they are still, baby. But you can see these perennials. In fact, the onion that I planted, they are not even this tall yet. But you can see those perennial onions, because they are in the ground year after year. This spring they are already harvestable. Something I noticed last year was in fall, they don't grow a good amount of leaves for me to harvest a lot in fall. And I'm thinking maybe because they have been in this bed for years now, and it's not the only place I'm planting it. Maybe that's why the area might be low in nutrient for them to grow enough leaves in spring and fall. So I'm thinking about harvesting it lightly this year, or maybe harvesting in spring and again now harvesting it in fall, so that they can keep their leaves in fall to work with. So if you have it in your garden, this is spring, they are growing, you can harvest them. I don't know how many leaves they put up, if there is a specific number of leaves, but once they start growing, the shoot that will hold the top onion, they are not going to put up new leaves. And then after that, the leaves will start to brown. So if you do not harvest the leaf by the time they are growing, the top, the middle stem, the sturdy one that will hold the top onion, you might be losing the green leaves at that time. So you can harvest it as well, but just know that once that stem is fully grown, those leaves will start to die down, so that the energy, but you can just analyze it in your garden. But just know that once they start growing, that they are not going to be growing much more of new green leaves. So you want to harvest those before they start turning brown around the main stem that will hold the onion. That stem tends to be kind of hard, and I don't think it will be pleasant to eat it raw. So I don't usually use that in my, like, I don't use it pretty much. I just let it do its things. So the leaves is what we use in our fresh eating and cooking. And what I like to do is chop it up and freeze it as well. So but right now when we are eating, I'll just I cook and I'm serving, and I need onion to put on the food that I served. For fresh eating, I'll just come and just snip it. So when you are harvesting it, harvest the outside leaves, the taller one, and leave the middle one to continue to grow, and just harvest the tall one from outside. If you are harvesting this, for instance, you can cut this little tip off when you harvest it, but harvest from outside and trying to harvest lightly. You can leave at least 2 leaves on the plant on each one so that they can continue their growth. It can continue to feed the mother bulb in the ground. And it has been in this, I don't know what year I planted in this bed, but it has been here for some years now. I don't take it out of the ground. In fall, it will grow the bulb on top, and then in summer, and then in fall it will grow those green again. But they just stay in the ground. They are best left in the ground. If you want to eat some bulb, you can eat some in summer. Other than that, you just leave it in the ground. You don't harvest it and replant it. They are best left in the ground. That's the beauty about them. I tried multiple perennial onions and I found Thrive and Egyptian walking onion to be the best in our zone 5A. Shallot does not do well here. I tried and French shallot and gray shallot. Gray shallots become smaller when they are left in the ground. That you can have in the shell is kind of hard to peel off to begin with. When it's even smaller, it's not worth your time. So the leaves is smaller like grass too. French shallot does not do well because in summer when it's dormant and then it's raining, the soil is wet, it tends to rot. Potato onion did the same, especially potato onion rot in the ground. When it's dormant, it's left in the ground. So those I found that those might be better harvest and replant. French shallot and potato onion. Gray shallot is good to harvest and replant separately from each other, because when they are clustered, they tend to just be smaller and smaller. You cannot eat the bulb. So, but French shallots and potato onion, you'll eat their bulb, not their leaves, I would think. But they are best harvested and replanted because they rot if the ground is wet. But when it comes to Egyptian onion, you can eat the leaves and leave your bulb in the ground and just use them for green onion. And then you eat the top onion. When the top onion grow in summer, you eat those, some of them, and plant some so that you can continue to increase your patch. That's what I do. And I got those Egyptian onion from my late grandmother-in-law. So my husband's grandmother, it came from her garden. My mother-in-law hoarded it from her garden to give it to us. And I planted in 2014 in an apartment. And when we moved here in 2014, toward end of 2014, I brought them here and I planted them. It is not the original patch, but from the original patch, I kept propagating it from the baby onion that grow on top. And this is quite tall. It's like 15, 16 or so, and a little bit thick as well. So some of them might have bigger leaves than others. And I've been propagating it, and now I've been eating some of the bulb from the ground as well, because I have a good amount. but I eat it lightly, especially if some of them are growing in some areas that I don't want them. Also, I can eat some of those. But more importantly, I like to harvest the greens and I like to eat the top bulb. They tend to be small, at least most of them. And in spring, you can harvest some to prep for winter. So you'll harvest them. You can just harvest a handful, rinse them without putting water because it's kind of hollow. When you harvest it, you'll harvest it pretty much holding in a way that the water is not going inside of it. Just rinse it. Like when you are rinsing it, and you rinse it, you chop it up, you put it in freezer bag, and then you put it in the freezer straight. And you can just do it by batches like that. You come outside, harvest a handful, go rinse, chop, put in the freezer bag, put in the fridge, go back, harvest again, chop it up, rinse it, chop it up, put in the bag, and when you have a gallon of bag full, squeeze some air out a little bit, close it, and put it in the freezer. And in the winter time when you are cooking, you can just take those bags out, scoop some. If it's frozen, just break it some. Otherwise, it can be loose in the bag. Scoop some and put it in while you are cooking. You cannot eat it fresh when you freeze it, but you can cook with it. And that's what I do. And when I run out of it, I just cook without. So since we have it in our garden, I don't buy onion. But since I noticed it last year and probably the year before last year, I noticed it as well that it produces light in fall and I don't harvest enough. I decided this year that I'm going to plant some onion as well, so that I can see if I can supplement this with onion so that I don't harvest too much from it while I keep increasing the patch. And in this bed though, I just noticed, I noticed that this area does not have much growing there. I'm not sure. At first I thought they are trying to get away from the wire, but some of them are growing right against the wire. And then I have this patch that is kind of blank. Then I have them going here. So they tend to lean toward this, which is west side. But we have a building on this side that will shade the sun and put a shade on them. But I don't know why they tend to lean toward this side instead of lean toward east. But there, you see that they are well full here. So I think it will be just okay to add more there. Sometimes it could be because a lot of mulch on the baby onion may not allow them to grow, but that's that. And because they are perennials onion, they are in a bed that you are now turning, it's okay to mulch unless you are planting them with onion that you are harvesting and replanting other things and you are afraid of having mulch mixed with your dirt. If you are in a perennial bed that you're not doing anything with, like you are now turning the soil, mulching might allow you to keep moist in the ground and provide organic matter to the plant so that those mulch can break down slowly, providing the carbon, the nitrogen, and anything else that they can provide, because like they will decompose slowly. And I usually mulch with leaves, fall leaves. So fall leaves naturally fell here, and this year you can see the fall leaves. And this year, this spring, I add the mulch to it. I got some mulch and I just cover with wood chips. I got wood chips and I just cover with wood chips. Other than that, we have leaves from a big tree. You can see how this area is naturally mulched with fall leaves. You can see the Egyptian onion growing there as well, and you can see how they are mulched. We have rhubarb growing right there. We have garlic growing there, and I'll record a video talking about garlic, how we grow them. We grow them as perennial as well. You can see how a, a, a bulb is pretty much growing together there. We have Egyptian onion and garlic one next to it there, some more Egyptian onion, some more garlic, and we have comfrey here, and this comfrey grow very big. This year I hold some to propagate. Not just that, I dug the dirt around it because the leaves tend to break down. I dug that to put on a raised bed that I created. My husband and I built together this year for annual vegetables growing, and then I mulched it with wood chips to provide some mulch that can break down to return nutrients to the plant. But it's waking up. You can see them moving around, like expanding. It grows tall, and comfrey is a plant that is medicinal, but you can carry as well to mulch as well. But let's come back to this bed of Egyptian onion. So you can see them right against the wire there as well. And let's move a little bit to look. So if you fertilize your garden, you can fertilize them. This year I'm planning on fertilizing them since they are in the same area year after year, and I noticed that in the fall they are not producing a lot of leaves. I thought maybe they might need nutrient. So I'm trying to learn to grow annual. I grow perennial vegetables, but I'm trying to grow annuals, and I plant them almost every year in my garden. Not every year, but almost. If they do well, great. If they don't, they don't. But this year I'm trying to grow them intentionally to supplement my perennial vegetables. Therefore, I'm going to water them, weed them, and feed them. And while I'm doing that, I will try to give a little bit more care to my perennials. But perennials in my garden, Egyptian onion, sorrel, garlic, rhubarb, and herbs that I'm growing, the chives, they do well without me taking care of them. They do their own things. What I do is just mulch. So, but if I'm going to provide some care to my onions, I might provide a little care to my perennials as well. And since they are in the same spot year after year, I'm thinking I'm going to feed them. So I bought this fertilizer for my onion, and it is water soluble fertilizer. But the ratio, during my search, they say the ratio between nitrogen, potassium, and phosphate, NPK, is 3:1. Like, no, 3:1:2. So 1 part of phosphate or phosphorus, you want 3 part of nitrogen, and 2 part of potassium, I don't know, 1 part of P, you want 3 part of N, and 2 part of K, NPK. And I think K is the potassium, nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus. I don't know why I'm messing up those numbers, but that's the way it is. NPK. So here we have 24 for N, 8 for P, 16 for K. So that's 3:1:2 ratio. And this is the only one that has that. Now, in fact, Miracle Grow has that as well. They just for food plant all purpose, but they just don't have it like that written. You will find it in the ingredient. And in the ingredient, when you look for, I compare both the same nutrient, the same ratio. They have it for Miracle Grow, but Miracle Grow was more expensive. So I purchased this one, and it's 24% for the nitrogen, and for the phosphate, that will be the P, is 8%, and then the potash or the potassium is 16. So 24. So that's 3:1:2 ratio. So you can see in the ingredient if they don't put the numbers at the front of it, and I just boil, or if they don't put the numbers like that. And it's water soluble, and I believe for a teaspoon, because I'm using a tie in, for a teaspoon, no, a half teaspoon for 1 gallon of water. So I'll just put 2 teaspoons, and I'll just put 1 teaspoon in it, and I'll just fill this 2 gallon of this, and I'll just water. And I believe is for 10 square footage that you will water with half teaspoon every 2 weeks. So that is like 3 feet by 3 feet. 3 times 3 is 9. So a little bit over that will be that 10 square footage. Just trying to see if I can get that spoon out, but it's a teaspoon. That things in it is 1 teaspoon. So they have 2 lines in it, 1 for half, 1 for the full teaspoon. And you just scoop it, put it in the container, and you add water, you stir it, you dissolve it, and you spray, and you just water. But yeah, that is what I'm giving them this year, and I think I gave it to them yesterday. And as you can see, the ones that are growing outside of the bed, they are growing in the grass, and you can see them, they are doing just fine. Although this year I'll try to cut those grass down a little bit. I won't be able to remove it completely without bothering the onion, so I'll cut them down a little bit and try to see if I can mulch around there and feed the area, like add fertilizer. Some lily are growing here. I'll try to cut some down as well. But we have dandelion growing nearby. I don't know this plant, but it is a medicinal one. Tend to be kind of sticky, tend to stick to things. We have strawberry growing there, thistle growing. But again, in this environment, those onions, they do just fine. If you do not have time to to dedicate to them, they will survive in your garden most of the time. Like when I got them, I have so many that I even put some in a compost bin. Months later, when we are moving, like we receive it in spring, so when we are moving in August to this house, and I wanted to get that compost to this house, and I was digging the compost, some of those Egyptian onion bulb, they were alive, growing in the compost, but the leaves was kind of white, but it was alive. And I said, this onion is strong. Although I planted on another property, they did well there for a few years, and a few years ago I went there and they completely disappeared. Like the bulb, there was no bulb in the ground, just a little hole. So I don't know if something ate the bulb from the ground or what, I'm not sure. Completely disappeared, like somebody came and just harvested every single one of them, including the baby bulb that I planted the summer prior. So I really don't know what happened to the onion there. Every single one, I didn't find any growing when I went back in spring. But what I found was rhubarb, horseradish, and garlic. They are growing just fine, but every single one of the Egyptian onion was gone. And I have a good amount of it there. They were so big, with the leaves being big as well. And I harvest the onion on top to replant around. in fall or so, and went back spring, or I missed the whole year of going there, or what, I'm not sure, but it was multiple months. And then I went there, they were gone. I was surprised, and I feel like I missed the whole year of going there, but I'm not sure. I don't think I missed the whole year. It could be maybe around summer that I went there and I didn't find anything, even though they have been there for at least 2 years before that happened. So my only guess is something ate it from the ground. But what surprises me is garlic remain. They were not in the same bed necessarily, but the same garden. But every single one of the Egyptian onion was gone, which is very surprising. So I don't know if it was somebody or if it was something. But yeah, we can walk around and see those Egyptian onion. But first, let's compare those Egyptian onion to onion that are planted, that are like annual onion that are purchased the plant to plant. Let's check them to see how they are doing. Now you can see, you can compare, and without walking on them, I can even see it. Yes. So this is an annual onion that are planted, and as you can see, is growing. I planted the plants, like they bundle together from a nursery, so it's like 6-7 inches. But this is how it was when I bought it. So maybe, I don't know if this is going to continue to grow in mine, but it put on 2 or 3 inches of growth here. And not too far from it, I have garlic growing. But let's see if we can find another one. Now that other things are growing here, it's making it even harder to find them. But that is another one here. This one, the growth is bigger than the other one, probably 4 inches. 4 inches. So clearly, you are going to eat the bulb, and you're going to harvest it like 100 days later or something. But just comparing those type of onion to the one that we saw, just tells you that when you have those perennial onions in your garden, you can harvest them now and start eating, while your onions that you planted are growing. And this is another onion. So now that we took a look at those onions, we can go look for some other Egyptian onion in the garden. Those are Egyptian onion. We harvested them from an area to my daughter Jire to replant it here, so that we can put a raised bed down there. So my kids are the one that planted there to begin it with, and I asked my daughter to harvest it, to replant it here, to dig them out, to replant it here, so that we can put a raised bed there. So they are here doing their things, and they planted a small bulb maybe 2 years ago or so, and we need to mulch this area for them, but they are there. And we pretty much harvested them from this section so that we can put this bed, this 3 feet tall raised bed down. So we harvested them from here, but clearly they missed the garlic that are growing here. I'm trying to see if there is some other onion they missed, but if they miss it, the bed will be on top of it. We have some growing there as well. And by the way, where we came from, the bed that I showed you earlier that has the brick, it's not really a raised bed. It's just like growing in the ground, but putting the frame around that area. And that's just an example. But the other side, probably the dirt level is a little bit high because of the mulching. I'm not sure, because I don't recall putting any dirt in it other than just putting the brick down and plants in. So, but constantly mulching with fall leaves every fall or so will, raise it over time, I would think. So let's get in to see some more Egyptian onion. So if you are thinking about growing, a vegetables garden, those are sustainable vegetables that you can grow in your garden, and they'll do just fine. So this is another bed. That is doing fine as well. And some onion can be just big with the leaves. And usually the bigger the bulb in the ground, the bigger the leaves are, in my opinion. And I'm going to fertilize them as well. I fertilized them yesterday as well. But you can see we mulch it. I just noticed that once this week we got rain almost daily, and after that they just took off from maybe 6 inches. They just put a lot of, it's like they woke up, so they just put a lot of growth to them. They grow fast in spring. They grow very fast, and then before you know it, they'll start shooting the middle shoot. So in spring, it is a race to keep up with them, to harvest, to process, and freeze. For winter is what I focus more on, and for eating, I'll just come and harvest as we need it. But harvesting them, rinse, chop, and put in the bag for freezer use, springtime is when I get the green. So it is a race to get them before they start browning, after they put enough energy toward their fruit production. So harvesting them on time, is the things. You can see some of them are gone because I harvest them for eating. Just got, like when I was harvesting them, they were not this tall. They were maybe 6 inches or so. I just harvest one from each plant as I want to put some in my food. Also, I'll serve everyone. And now that they put enough growth in it, I can harvest 2 from each plant also. So you can see, so far we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 leaves here. I don't know if it's going to grow more. But when I'm trying to harvest, I'll just harvest 2 again and keep those 2.